back to another LinuxGameCast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. This week, G-Sync comes to your lap organ, but I thought it required a special moon module ? Areola controller pre-orders make with Alive. Unfortunately, there are no strings attached, and you get a refund, and you get a refund. We all get refunds, bees!
Gaben gets humbled as Steam unveils their new bundle technology. AMD has some new drivers out, and a shame it won't work with your 6-month-old kernel. And Double Fine's chalice is overflowing, and I'm sure there's some sort of childbirth metaphor in that.
The very first Leadworks game for Linux has made it through Greenlight, and it looks just as bad as most of the Unity ones. Bad juju is going the way of the dodo. If dodos had been financially irresponsible to the point of buying Desura, that is. The Sword Coast sees yet another game, and this one is coming to Linux on day one, so they say.
Storm United gives Linux gamers a fresh update. Because fuck us, right? Don't Starve Together is given to the owners of the original Don't Starve. Sweet, now I can watch my friends starve. XCOM 2 is coming to the Linuxes. We'll tell you what we really think of Farrell's amazing ports.
Yeah, that's right. I'm Vince Stone here at LGC Actual, switching the bits all into Linux and that fuel. Joined in Canada by mine bunny up in Toronto land.
I'm still shuddering from Sandy's Ronald Reagan impression.
It's pretty wild. All the way from Space, Portugal.
Hello.
Pedro
How are you doing? I feel kind of, squished in between two Canadians.
What? And speaking of, yes.
We're giving him a CN Tower, yeah.
He's only here because you pay for him. That's Sandy Martin. Joining together with Chat Realm Dynamic, a bit of a cocaine Voltron. Before we get started, we'd like to see what's going on in each other's life organs. I'm going to start out because, well, we're going to talk about it a bit later, but I kind of opened up Leadworks the other day, and I was like,
I thought it was Unreal.
Well, I did that later, but I first started with Leadworks, and I was like, how hard is it to make a brick? Turns out making a brick's not that difficult, so Brick Simulator 2015 might become a thing. Keep your eye organs peeled for that. What's up, J-Baby?
I'm planning the Kickstarter for Brick Simulator.
The DLC,
as a stretch goal, we're going to have John St. John voice the brick. He's just going to scream racial epithets at people. It's going to be awesome.
All right. What's up, B-Man?
Like I said, we should have Maddie write the script for John St. John to read as the brick. I still say that's an awesome idea.
And I just got home from the second annual James Ferguson Greasy Chicken Jerk-Off, which is a new celebration that we're doing to honor my buddy who, died last year. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Good chicken, good jerks, and good offs.
What's Horse up to this week, baby?
See, the horse is a bit upset because he tried to sell you his 30-minute long game, and now you're asking for a refund. And it's a Steam update of the
Steam refunds. Yes. We've been waiting on this one all week. That's right. You can request a refund for nearly any purchase on Steam. I'm waiting to order my Steam controller. Maybe your PC doesn't meet the hardware requirements. Maybe you bought a game by mistake. Maybe you played the title for an hour and just didn't like it. Gaben is going to spread his magical love sauce all with that refund deal. And it's going to be magical, but some people are a bit upset. My first thought when I heard about this was like, might be a good time to start actually testing some of that Linux shovelware you've been pumping out. If I'm a betting man on Linux, because those sales are going to take pretty bad. What did you think, P-Man?
This whole thing, my first reaction was, if hell exists, it's pretty much frozen over right now because Valve offering refunds instead of trying to find yet another loophole for them to fit themselves snugly into is kind of amazing. But yeah, there's some talk about people possibly exploiting the refund system. And the biggest concern that I've seen raised, and the only one that I think that actually has any backing to it, is say, if you have a game, which you can literally make a game, a really awesome game, that most people will finish in 1 hour and a half, like, say, Portal.
Oh, no.
No, Portal, you can finish Portal in like an hour and a half. The first one, it's actually feasible. But let's say people buy the game, play it all the way through, and then ask for a refund. How's that going to work?
Well,
I know that
here's
they've
the brilliance of it. I mean, you have 2 hours or 14 days, whichever comes first. So you might be able to do it, but I mean, if you're like 2 hours and 1 minute, but I think that's going to be an incredibly small faction of people. Even Total Sterling says, but yeah, maybe if your game is short as hell, disclose that. Honestly, if people want your game free, there are other easier ways to go about getting it. No.
Yeah. But there's actually a better. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, sure. Okay. When I first heard the news that Steam is offering refunds, because I actually got a refund from Steam a while ago. The first thought that crossed my mind was, so is Valve actually listening to their customer base and trying to combat the oncoming shit creep that's occurring in the Steam marketplace? No. This is, but I mean, ultimately it is a good thing. There needs to be some accountability in the Steam marketplace. There's just so much crap out there. And the fact that no one could get their money back after pulling the trigger on a purchase really allowed that to flourish. I'm glad that this thing, which is quite frankly several years too late, is finally being implemented. Yeah. Reasons or no.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Like, this is almost like a Band-Aid solution, if you will, towards like all the crapware that has been coming out. Because you have a lot of these games that come out terrible. You already paid for it. It's like, and you can only tell people stop pre-ordering so much until something happens. I think it's still up to Valve to make these developers accountable for the products that they're releasing.
I think definitely one thing this might actually curb check is a lot of the Unity Ghetto stuff that we're seeing that's in early access.
Yeah.
Stock art assets, the game.
If this will do anything is prevent people from releasing games that they know they're busted or are just complete shit. Because we've been getting plenty of those. Not as many on Linux as Windows gamers are getting on Windows or even Mac are getting on their platform. But we do get a considerable amount of the Unity Ghetto. And hopefully, allowing people to get refunds as easily as they make it sound, I say it will be a flying spaghetti monster send.
Well, you know, it's good that Steam is avoiding having its back broken, being humble. But then again, yes, Steam now has bundles. This is from Steam. Yeah, well, I don't know. It could be a bumble. So Steam has a couple bundles out on the marketplace right now. They have the AVGN bundle. They got the game loading members bundle, and bundles can come packaged with games, with movies, and it's basically what Desura was. And we'll get to that a bit later. Offering with their Indie Royale bundle,
get to that.
and what Humble is currently offering, but. I was actually surprised it took them this long to hop on that bandwagon, because it seemed like everyone and their brother had a bundle for like the past couple of years. I suppose this is just an extension of Steam sales, because they had similar things where every summer.
Yeah, they already had some sort of bundles, especially with games and like the collections, the Valve collection, for instance, which included all of the Valve games.
I guess this is just formalizing and putting a nice
on all this business is right now bundles will be used only for the combination of game plus movie for now. And, back in the day, I would have been like, oh man, that might actually hurt the Humble Bundle, because they only release cross-platform DRM, and that's gone. So I don't care. Yeah. Dance, monkeys, dance. I want to give them knives, and let's see who.
One thing to note, though, if the bundle does contain a video that's consumable, it cannot be refunded as per their refund policy. So that is an interesting thing to look out for.
Although you could still make the case that you could technically still refund the game itself.
Possibly, but Valve may try some trickery bullshit. They have
probably.
They've been known to do stuff like this.
Sandman, you have some humble issues.
But Well, yeah, you still can't beat Humble Bundle. Humble Bundle has been out for so long now. Like, it's already embedded into the psyche of PC gamers everywhere. So, like, you can't just... Valve will never overtop them, really. Like, it's just another sort of market share that they can reach out to for people that don't know about the Humble Bundles, which they're probably console savages. But, yeah, like, they're never going to take away from them.
But Sandy, will the Humble Bundle create a SteamOS distribution for their bundles?
Not a chance.
Yeah, it's called Microsoft Windows 10, obviously.
Yeah. Obviously.
So yeah,
you need to listen, Pedro.
This is going to be the bundles for the Steam machines, is supposedly.
All right. Well, let's
listen,
talk about
man.
the aerial
Listen.
controller, baby. Hey, listen.
Hey,
all right.
listen.
Listen. Experience a new
Hey.
level of precision control your favorite games. Man, she has changed from the early days now, hasn't she?
Yeah.
She's
Come
beautiful.
on.
AA batteries, though.
AA batteries, no
fucking
touch
batteries.
screen. They did get rid of that and replaced it with a hat controller, so they don't have the directionals over
I
there.
would rather have the
The stick.
D-pad. to be
And yes, we are talking about the Steam controller, which you can pre-order right now for $49.99 wet American stinkies.
You can grab it with the link, too, for $100.
I know, not too bad. I was a little disappointed, though. I genuinely was to find out that it is wireless only, but you can plug in a USB charger and use it like that. But anybody who has any experiences with micro USB chargers know those things just are made
They don't
of
like to
fail
stay in.
sauce. Right. And plus,
Yeah.
that's going to add the added advantage of screwing with somebody and reaching for yoink. And
Yeah. Fuck your phone, man.
Yeah. So if you're in the US, you can direct order this from Valve. If you're in Canada, though, like Sandy and myself, you got to pre-order this from Electronics Boutique, and it comes with a free bag of Doritos and a bottle of Mountain Dew. But, I mean, there's an EB directly next to my house. Like, not even 5 minutes away, so I can just walk there and pick one up when the thing actually
Wow,
comes
that's
out.
cool, because the nearest one for me is 171 kilometers. Sweet. I'll just get a walk in, and I'll see you
That
guys.
sounds like
in
that sounds like a day march,
Yeah,
soldier.
it sounds like a personal problem.
Yeah, that's a you problem.
P-Man, what's the situation in Spaceport?
I won one or two of these, but I have yet to actually go through the pre-order process to see how much more money they will charge me for shipping, because I'm pretty sure it's not going to be cheap. Now, the cable thing, on the other hand, I do have a spare one of these, which came with the NVIDIA Shield.
That won't
So-
work with it.
It's
I
micro-USB.
don't know. To me, I hope that it's actually a really good controller, because otherwise, I'm going to pay $60 for it, and it's going to sit in the corner collecting
That's
dust for the
kind of
next
one
10
of the things.
years.
I mean, they were talking about in the video, showing off, all the awesome sauce. They were talking about, hey, there's going to be community profiles, and that both excites and terrifies me because
it could definitely be interesting.
well, it could go either way. And we're looking at the video here because you might want to try to play your first-person shooters and all that, and you're like, okay, maybe I'll get a profile. But Steam is not known for organizing communities worth shit, and I don't want to have to sort through 50 to find one where I could just sit down and come up with my own. But
So what you're saying is
that thing from the trailer actually interested me, because I don't know if that's actually gameplay footage of someone actually interacting with the controller, but it's gonna make 3D games take a bit of an isometric control scheme. That seems a bit odd, especially if you're trying to simulate mouse movements.
Well, it's the same way you would play an FPS with the touchpad on a laptop.
Yeah.
So poorly.
But one of
Yes.
the cool things about it is the fact that with the community driven thing, like the presets, I'm just saying LinuxGameCast presets, throwing that out there, people. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But
Are
fuck
you
up,
volunteering
Sandy.
there, Sandy?
up next,
Shut the
Storm
fuck up and
United.
talk about Storm United.
well, I am just about to talk about Storm United.
I'm still waiting for you to do it.
anyways,
Sandy. Come on.
they came out with this big update that fixed a lot of the UI problems, fixed the HUD again. They
Seems to be a bit of an issue with it, though.
yeah, I know. still sucks. I mean, what? But
there's
it
even a bigger
replaced the
issue.
prototype scope for the Sniper 01 rifle, and gave it a new version. I still can't see the difference. Oh, but wait. Of course I can't see the difference because it's not out for Linux yet. Because they said, no, this update is still only for Windows and Mac users. The new Linux client will show up in the next week or the week after that.
And that's what
Or the
really
week after
rubbed me
that, or the
wrong,
week after
son.
that.
Because it's not maybe the week after that. We already got your money, and it's been over 2 weeks. Neo dodges that bullet. So, and that's kind of the whole thing with this game, because their entire solution to everything. If you go to read in the forums, and you just go watch our Busted Ass Early Access show. We played it, Jordan, Pedro, and I. And we had to buy a multi-pack in order to have a game because completely unpopulated. And every time you bring that up in their forums, they go, because we haven't marketed it yet. It's like, well, it's been like 4 months, Brad.
I want to get on it, son.
No,
Yeah.
Pedro, as soon as they start marketing a $19.99 game that will eventually go free to play, people will start pouring in with the cash, man.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
completely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're still selling it, right? It's still in early access.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
And,
what bothers me about this whole thing is, for the version we played on the Busted Ass Early Access show, they basically just clicked export and said have at.
Right.
I don't know, and
Yep.
it worked reasonably well. I mean, the menu crashed like a motherfucker, but once you actually got into the game, you could play it. Why don't they just do that and then have community feedback say, by the way, all the rest of this shit is broken under Linux? They could do that, but they don't, because clearly this is a mismanaged project.
One of my biggest issues with it right now is I can't tell if the current version client we have is incompatible with the new one, because there's no one
Or
online
if
playing.
there's actually no one playing.
It might be.
I'm just going to assume yes.
Yeah.
So-
Also, yes. But like another thing is like even when I looked at their IndieDB profile, like before they even came onto Steam, they did no marketing for this game whatsoever. And then when you would ask about whether they were going to come to Linux, they're like, like what do you mean you don't know? Like you're either going to do cross-platform or you're not. So, like, yeah, this is definitely going to be a interesting game to watch over.
Up next, it's massive.
No, it's massive, so huge. Look at Tim's girth. This is massive, Chalice. This game previously was in early access, and it's Fantasy XCOM. I played this for about an
Man,
hour.
they gave us a copy of this when.
Yeah, they gave us a copy back when this was in hella early access. So we're probably going to
was
throw chairs
literally
at
like
this.
2 days or 3 after it came out in early access.
Yeah, so we're probably going to throw chairs at this in maybe a week or two. But I mean, I played it, and literally it is XCOM, but it adds a couple new mechanics. There's this whole breeding thing where your soldiers will naturally age and die, so you have to constantly have them fuck each other to make kids. But if you want them to fuck each other, you can't use them anymore. And there's this whole Pokemon breeding mechanic thing where you want to get the best traits, and it gets really, really bad because after a while, if you make like 1 or 2 critical mistakes at the beginning of the game, you will have no soldiers because you can only build 1 keep at a time. You need 1 keep to pump out babies, and then you have to wait long enough for these guys to grow into adults so that they can be level 1 characters.
So what you're saying is you're basically
tedious.
fucked.
I don't know.
You're basically fucked.
For me, I loaded
Like,
it up and I looked at it. The art style looks fine. We should say how much this is going to run us right now because it's currently 20% off.
It's $19.99 or $15.99 on sale now.
It's on sale. You can get the soundtrack edition for $24. And no, I found
The combat is reasonably fun. I'll say that.
Well, that's something I want to talk about because if you're like me, and the first time it says, here, take your turn, I went, oh, fuck me. Nope. I will play it.
No.
Who knows? This might be the game that makes me enjoy turn-based strat. It won't be, but it could. And I really want to like it. I'm reading the reviews, and I was trying to talk to J-Man. J-Man's trying to talk some sense into me, and I'm like, all I'm reading is it's like XCOM, kinda.
It is, and the whole bloodline mechanic is actually really interesting. But it's one of those things that works really well on paper, but when you actually translate it into a playable gameplay mechanic, it's really, really annoying and tedious. And I think that is the game's biggest downfall. But like I said, we'll probably be throwing chairs at this in a couple weeks.
Well, it's hard to have a good mechanic like that and keep it together for like most of the game. You know what I mean? Like it's like the breeding, like you focus so much on breeding, then you forget about like leveling up certain skills, like with your characters, and then or buying them a new equipment. So like, you lose out on a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of juggling you need to do in this game. It might be a bit too much. They maybe should have scaled it back a bit. But I'm feeling a bit hungry.
It's kind of the same thing they did with XCOM, and the way you have to sort of push your soldiers out to decide to see whether or not they have psychic powers when you're getting to the late game, because you need at least one soldier with psychic powers in order to finish the game. So it's kind of that, but on an extreme. You have to do it if you want to keep on having warriors. That's it.
Food fight!
So hungry.
Don't starve, Jordan. Anyways,
all that mayonnaise on your face.
Oh, those mayonnaise. So if you're a bot, don't starve. The developers were nice enough to hand out Don't Starve Together, the multiplayer for the multiplayer DLC. No, it's not. It's a standalone. Sorry. To give you the standalone for Don't Starve Together, so you can watch your friends starve on the same server. So, and I believe one of the key things that they were advertising for the multiplayer was that you can have up to 12 people, I believe, on a server. Was one of the things that they were advertising.
They did say that. I mean, this is still in early access. We should definitely point that out.
Yeah.
Currently, it's $14.99. If you don't have any of the bits and you want to stick them all together, you're looking at $19.99 wet, stinky caches. And
to be fair, Don't Starve goes on Humble Bundle fairly often. So
pretty much. I mean, that's where a lot of us got it. And I think we have a good multiplayer game set up coming up, Jimin.
Yes. I just need to actually buy the game because I didn't buy any of the bundles for that.
Sucker.
I like to be honest, I avoided this game like the plague, but it is good that it's not like they're gonna pull some shit where you have to purchase the multiplayer functionality separately, because that's right.
I mean, they're staying good on the words. A lot of people were a bit twisted up about them launching this, because originally they said the multiplayer was going to be part of it and you're just going to get it gratis. Yes. Then they threw it into early access, and a lot of people were like, what the hell, Brad? What the hell?
But at least if you already own the game, you get it for free. So
right, so they kept good on their words.
That was nice. That was really actually kind of awesome.
But now a game.
It's not as nice as
that. Every time they fix some spacing, they release a new major version.
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, so Kings of Kung Fu come out with update 4.0. Optimized stages and textures. Added new loading screens. Added ending posters for all the characters. I know, right? Tweaked the hitboxes for new characters. Fixed jump freeze bug. And randomized arcade battle order for Tao Lung. Like
Brad. I don't think that this minor feature set justifies a new major release. I'm just saying.
I know, right?
But at least, I mean, holy shit, loading screens, dude. That's so major. That is some next level shit we have.
I know, right?
And then you look at last time when they did the 3.Z version, they like changed the character name or something like that.
Yeah, there's like literally two things. It's ridiculous.
If you're looking at it, I mean, it's one of the few fighting games we got. It's an early access. It's $7.99, kind of price to sell, but I'm a bit disappointed. They sent us keys, full disclosure, and I think P-Man got them for us, right?
Yep.
And I was expecting it to be so atrocious. It's horribly bad, and it wasn't. It was bad, but it wasn't nightmare fuel. I was like, okay, good solid foundation to build a fighting game. Like 3-point releases after, and they've not addressed the mechanic that makes it fun, the fighting bit. So you might want to hold off.
But they added loading screens, man. That's the most important crucial component.
I wonder if they're actually trying to push this particular fighting style, these mechanics that they have, because I, for one, cannot deal with it. I keep getting my ass kicked. I've tried with both controller and keyboard, and I can't. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I don't know, Pedro.
One of the big things that they need to do, like if you look in the forums on Steam, they have a forum that's highlighted, or a thread that's highlighted, that's saying suggested characters, so people can put in suggestions for new characters and stuff like that. And like people have lists of all like Jean-Claude Van Damme, which is, Dukes, but Frank Dukes.
You would think they should open this up to the workshop maybe, and then have people submit their.
Yeah.
See, that would be great.
Or maybe some online multiplayer. Throwing that out there. Weird,
Who knows?
Because like this
Berserker.
Yes, ladies and
Pedro,
gentlemen,
would you like to making fuck?
I ask for a second of your time to listen to this little blurb that they have on the store page for Mad Out. Destroy opponents, improve your car and weapons, feel the dynamics of the chase and fighting battles, enjoy good car physics. You can choose between 15 cars, more than 80
Enjoy good
unique
physics
tracks,
cars, you dyslexic. your brain
and
corrected
several
that, Pedro.
As opposed to the chemistry
of weather
cars, of
conditions.
course.
Singular.
Wait, is the chemistry car a Pontiac Aztec? I'm not sure.
Berserker. $14.99. This is racing.
Yeah. This
Okay.
was supposed to be a racing game in the Unity engine with some destructible physics and some weapons on the cars. It was simultaneously released giggity on Windows, Mac, Linux, Android, and iOS.
Speaking
Now-
of Android, though, Pedro, you noticed something.
Yeah, you see, last night, Ven sent me a message saying, oh, could you try and get in touch with these guys, see if they send us some keys? Okay. Went to the Steam page. Oh, that's what they're called. Nulligene? We'll go with that. Google for that name. Oh, okay. They have a little, Play Store page with the game. Oh, it's gone. Huh. Went to their website, nulligene.ru. Oh, it's
Is Russian
not loading either. Yeah, it's Russian. Okay, so went to the Steam forums. Bunch of people complaining, a bunch of trolls. Scrolled down all the way down on the store page. There's like 2 reviews you can see, and they're both negative. Huh.
Well, you gotta admit that this page is a bit confusing because you will actually see on this page, and I want to quote this, offline mode coming soon, and on the same page, single player.
Brilliant. Well, no, they're gonna have the single player paid DLC.
Well, this is what you gotta
Pedro,
think. I caught the Android game, and the Android game was free.
Yeah.
And it was basically built for the Tegra 1. So, the graphics shouldn't be horrible. But it was pay to win. I was like, yeah, $14.99 for pay to win. What we said about?
Yeah. Do not.
What about the
game.
rating?
The what?
The PEGI rating.
Oh yeah, you see, there on the store page, there's a PEGI rating which has a green 6 on it, and if you try to go to the Steam page, you get an age gate.
'Cause
Why?
it's so hardcore.
You thought it looked like Borderlands because you're blind.
Yeah, I was saying that because it has the cell shaded look, it reminded me a lot of the style of the Borderlands series. Because I was like, wow, it's like Twisted Metal meets Borderlands.
But I think
was like,
J9
fuck.
pointed out there were some advertisements in some of the screenshots.
Oh yeah, no. If you go through the carousel of screenshots, a couple of them have that lovely buy banner. That's subtle. But what tickles me even more is if you scroll down to the system specs, they recommend that you actually have a GTX 470 as your processor. So at some point, you actually have to open up your computer, take out your video card, and ram it into your CPU slot to get optimum performance.
No, but if you look at the minimum, it says Intel Pentium dual core 1.5 gigahertz or equivalent. Okay.
Yeah.
And then on the recommended,
NVIDIA
you get-
GTX 470.
Yep. And then you have another graphics that says NVIDIA 250 GT or Intel HD 4K.
Duct tape, Pedro, duct tape.
no, you have to have the one jammed into the CPU socket and another one in the PCI socket.
All right. And let's keep on noping. Keep this nope trade chugging along.
Yeah, okay. So this is Gunslugs. You guys like Metal Slug, right?
I've heard
Neo
about
Geo.
Metal Slug. I used to have it for Neo Geo.
It's a classic from the Neo Geo era. It's great. This is a crappier looking version for $5. This one is roguelike. It has procedurally generated levels, permadeath. So unlike Metal Slug, which had meticulously crafted levels and enemies to fight, this is just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, and then you die. But I mean, price to sell at $5, but I don't think it's even worth that. It really just seems like a crappy Metal Slug.
It's single player only too, local coop. So
yeah.
I think
And up next,
what do you think, Sandy? I mean, does it tickle your pickles?
See, honestly, like, it's zero effort on developers' part. Like, come on. If you're going to at least make a game shitty looking, at least add some sort of customization to make your pixels look.
That's what I'm saying,
less
Brad.
like
I mean, if it's
just
hipster pixel and procedurally generated and 149 wet stinky in the Play Store because it's a fucking mobile port.
oh, brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, and also add cross-platform multiplayer, you know? Like, really, is that hard? Is that hard? No.
Well, let's quit bleeding pixels.
Yes. So I actually played this a couple of years ago, back when they were demoing this at conventions. This is another one of those I want to be the guy style turbo hard, Super Meat Boy, rage quit platformers that speedrun bait. That's really only it. I mean, it has like a cutesy anime aesthetic, I guess. I mean, look at that. It's so cute. Kawaii desu.
Nope. Right here in this video. That is, I almost bought it because this thing's like 80%. Yeah, $249 right now. And
It's less than $350.
70. I'm just gonna give you a pro tip. Here's a pro tip. If I see buzzsaws in a game, nope. I nope right then because it's been done, Brad, and it's been done better. If I want
Super Meat Boy,
boom, right there in your face organ.
But yeah, this was a Flibita Jibibo port.
So you know the controls.
You can tell that it was because if you scroll down to the system requirements, you see OS glibc 215 plus 32-bit S3TC support is not required.
Actually, funny story about the developers. When I asked them a couple of years ago if they were coming to Linux, they're like, "Yeah, we're talking with some guy about porting it." Who? Ethan? He's like, "Wait, you know Ethan?" Yeah, I know Ethan.
That's awesome. He's one of the saviors of Linux, man.
Anyways, I got a shotgun.
No problem.
Pump action shotgun. Well, this is the first, or will be the first, Linux game made in the Leadworks engine to come out on Steam, and it's only
Look at the frame rate on this video.
I think that's on purpose because once that little bit goes through, it actually smooths out.
Okay, there's regular. It's still pretty damn bad.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Epilepsy. Do you like epilepsy? More epilepsy. This is money, cash. There's a gold. Women. Just kidding.
Just kidding.
Yeah. This, if that looks familiar to you, is because you probably too have spent some time on the Steam Greenlight lineup looking at first-person shooters, and it's another zombie shooter. Oh, it's another zombie shooter. Oh, it's another first-person shooter, which not only has zombies, but has a bunch of different other monsters that look like they come from different asset packs, because they do, Brad. They do.
Ultimately,
but hey,
it's just it's Ziggurat with one weapon.
Well, here's the thing.
All the levels are generated.
This brings something new to us. This is our first one on Leadworks. That basically they went to the Leadworks asset store and just downloaded crap, scattered it around. I mean, you see something as traditional as like the random U.S. postal mailbox next to like, what the hell that? And none of the monsters match up. I mean, it is shot, scatter, shite on a map. Call it a game, and of course it got greenlit. But fortunately, we do have those refunds. Sandy, or you've already bought it, haven't you?
not a chance.
He's already returned it. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's already been returned, man. But like even when you watch the video, the frame rate is atrocious. Like even their recording of it, the frame rate is atrocious. It's like it's probably because you got all those shitty assets in there. Probably I'm not gonna play it. Yeah, most likely.
There's one other kicker to this one, which I think serves as a great teaser for what's coming up in the news, which is if you go to the Steam community group page for this game, you can find a link on near the top of the page on the links section, and it says, any means especially favorable to success, superiority, or ascendancy, a position of superior advantage in experienced players. Pre-order now on Desura.
Coming up next, we explore that dark and vague spoiler.
and gentlemen, boys and girls, you really should be watching us live at this point. But if you're not, let's get on to some real, actual Linux news. And in true LGC fashion, let's start with some drivers. This week, AMD.
Ooh, yes. No, AMD has released their 15.5 Catalyst drivers. And whereas NVIDIA would give you a comprehensive list of what they actually did, we get AMD product compatibility, supported Linux distribution, system requirements. No, it does. Well, no, that's not the actual thing. It doesn't really give you. Apparently, they resolved two issues: some GPU power saving thing and minor screen corruption. I mean, this article is really lacking. And of course, you need a 317 kernel, which at this point is what, like 4 or 5 months old now? Because we're already on 320, which is 4.0. For those of you who don't actually track kernel versions. So if you have an up-to-date system, if you're using something like Fedora or Arch or what have you, you cannot use these drivers unless you roll back your kernel to something much, 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 much older. And guess what? Hey, AMD, you might want to remember that guys like NVIDIA and Intel support new kernels out of the box.
Yep. And that's not just it. If you look at the system requirements, the system recommendations, they say that the following packages must be installed in order for AMD Catalyst trademark proprietary Linux graphics driver to install and work optimally.
Why?
Now, if you look at the first two items on that list, it says GIMP-help-en and GIMP-help-common. Why the hell do you want the GIMP help files for a graphics driver?
How dare you question Roy at AMD? He will block you on Twitter, sir.
That's freaking ridiculous because they need to step up their game. Like, this is ridiculous.
No. I actually, at this point, they are actively trolling people. There's no other explanation for this. And my favorite thing, it says, before attempting to install. And all I have to say that is, better sacrifice a sheep to Lord Glycon. Because
don't be led astray then by other women. Don't.
Saying, bro.
Otherwise the drivers will fail to install.
Sandy, you actually have some AMD juice running through you. So
yeah, I'm actually running. Well, I ran the 15.5 driver yesterday, and remember how it said on there, fix known issues, the breaking of the graphics. I'm on the browser and. Yeah, like how the graphics, the textures and all that shit will break.
The graphics broke? Yeah.
Yeah, the graphics broke
the whole
immediately,
thing?
But it wasn't even in a game. It was on the browser. I went onto the browser and the whole thing went... I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, you didn't fix it at all. So I rolled back to the 1412, the Omega drivers, and they run way better now. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, what do I have to do to get this shit to properly work? Like, do I have to, like,
buy an NVIDIA
jungle
card?
4 cats standing naked on a tree stump, with 1 foot up and facing south
Sandy,
with the northeastern wind blowing?
That reminds me. We can't actually pay you this week.
Shit!
Yes.
Not this week, and not ever.
Really that money, buddy.
Fine folks at Bad Juju. Because, yes, Desura, or Bad Juju, the company that currently holds the rights to Desura, has filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Bankruptcy.
Get
that right.
Show title.
Bankruptcy.
That sounds sexy.
article,
some bankruptcy. I could go for that.
The article comes from Rock Paper Shotgun, and they had a talk with the guys because there were some rumors floating around that maybe they were going bankrupt, maybe they weren't. Some people weren't getting paid. Developers certainly weren't getting paid. And they got in touch with them and they said that, we are indeed filing for Chapter 7. And the article doesn't go into a lot of details, actually a pretty small one. Ven actually did some digging.
I did a little bit of research on this. This was like the early synopsis. And, like 2 weeks ago, it's like people not getting paid. And I was like, that's not going to be a big deal. Then, we were doing some digging 2 weeks ago. I was like, well, this has been going on for like 5 months. Like, that's a bad sign, Brad. And that's a really bad sign. And
what also is a bad sign, though, is their developers aren't getting paid.
we're getting to that. Just let me roll this thought through and
Go ahead.
give me some
Go
feedback on it, Brad. That whole business went down, and they went on to the Desura page, and there's like, no, everything's fine, it's peachy. By the way, our CEO's in the hospital. And I was like, warning sign right there. That has fucking all to do with anything. And I was like, okay. And I was kind of rooting. I was like, maybe everything is fine because a lot of motherfuckers are not getting paid. And it was like, oh, poor, a lot of game developers are like, man, I need that wet sticky to pay rent. And they're holding me up. So, get a lot of bad things about that. But, this also will nope the Indie Royale bundle because those two were tied together. And you got to remember, this is not Chapter 13 in the States. Chapter 13 is like debt reconsolidation. You're trying to keep the company around, Brad. This is Chapter 7. This is fuck you. Bank walks in, dissolves all your shit. The people owed money are the last ones to get paid if there's anything left over. And what really grinds me, this is their community manager. And she was former. She says, if anyone can help retweet, please. I can't use company accounts. We are locked out. I can't answer our emails there anymore. Not only did they fuck developers, they also fucked the people that were supporting it. And she genuinely was trying to support this company. I don't think she had any bad ill will or was like spinning the BSotron on this. She genuinely didn't know.
She had another tweet too where she basically just outright says, I just found out that I got fired when this story broke.
Through Twitter. That's ridiculous. Literally, that's what she said. I found out that I was being fired through Twitter.
This really, really, really pisses me off because the guys at Bad Juju reached out to us a long time ago. We thought they were cool. And then they pull this shit. They fuck over their developers. They fuck over their actual employees who sacrifice time and effort to keep their product afloat. And then they just, give everyone the fucking finger, say have at, and walk off. That is absolutely ridiculous. This will end up in court. Make no mistake. This will probably end up in court.
Fucking with people's money, like the developers, is pretty bad. When the moment you start fucking with your employees, you're setting yourself up for some pretty scorched earth policies in the future.
I got one thing. Go ahead. I just can't.
No, it's just a little PSA for everyone out there that does have some games on their Steam account. If you don't want to lose them, start downloading.
Desura. I mean, definitely check out the news page because a lot of the developers that are currently still there are saying, hey, we're going to give you some Steam keys. We're trying to get moved over to Steam. But one thing I want to say, you're wondering to yourself, why were they spinning this web of, just BS of like, don't worry, we're going to do everything. We're going to get the automated payments and all that. That was a fucking tactic because if some developer at any point between then and before they filed bankruptcy had sued them, it would have prevented them from filing bankruptcy. That is why they went on. Like, just don't get upset. We're working on it. We're getting into contact with everyone so they could fuck the people they were supposed to pay over because they didn't want them to sue them so they could file chapter motherings and not pay them. I mean, that was the sole reason. Sandman.
That pisses me off. Like, I am dealing with things kind of similar, but I'm not going to get into that. But when you fuck your employees like that, like, I can guarantee there's probably some executives that are getting away scot-free with some money. I can guarantee that right now. And they just literally fucked everyone. It wasn't even like developers. It wasn't even like customers. Their own people. Like, you just ate your own people. Like, that is bullshit. Bullshit.
Scorched earth policy, right?
Yep.
Up next on some lighter news, AMD launches a new top-end A10 7870K with faster CPU and GPU clock speeds. This is Kaveri, debuted 15 months ago. Basically, what is this? This is a little bit of a clock bump.
Basically, new clock bump, maybe a little better video card than the previous model. I don't see APUs get a lot of hate, especially under Linux, because they have the AMD video well, they have the built-in integrated AMD video driver. But really, if you're stuck with integrated graphics, you're not going to get OpenGL 4 because Mesa at the moment only supports OpenGL 3. 4 is coming later this year, hopefully, according to their little Mesa Matrix.
Although
I think Pedro
you
has a link.
can sort of get 4 if you manage to get FGLRX working.
Yes.
Yeah, no. Again, if you're on a recent distribution, that ain't happening. But I mean, it's a minor improvement over the last model. It's socket FM2, so if you have one of the earlier generation APUs, you cannot plop this in your system. You gotta go buy a new motherboard.
Right on. P baby, what's this thing clock in at?
This, if the article is accurate when it comes to price, it should run you for about $140 or 138 more specifically. And 138 for what amounts to an Athlon X4 860K, like the one I have on my Steam machine, and an R7 250 with a slightly lower clock for $140. That's not bad.
Well, I need Jordan to explain something to me, because what I was reading in the article, it says this is targeting gamers with sub 1080p displays, and my first thought was like, well, maybe that'd be good to put into a Steam box, until I ran across that bit of information. I was like, I don't own anything that's sub 1080p.
Well, I mean, the APUs can drive 1080p on like medium at a reasonable frame rate for most games, even if you are on the Mesa drivers, which I am. Pedro, you mentioned that you could get a 750, like just the non-TI version, for a $40
the GTX
more.
750 goes for $90 nowadays. So plus the 860K. Yeah, the 860K goes for like $75 to $80. So instead of 140, you'd be paying like 185, 190. Yeah.
I guess, but if you're incredibly budget conscious, if you need to build this on the absolute cheap APU, is probably the way to go. And I really hate myself for saying this, but I think Vulkan will really help out with this, with the integrated graphics and APU market, because
they've already shown, like with all the APUs, how much of enhancement that the API gives to like. Flibit had a blog post about this, where you can actually get better performance out of integrated graphics because you can reduce the total number of trivial mem copy operations between the GPU RAM and the actual system RAM.
Well,
and with Vulkan,
one of the things I'm curious to see, I mean, Vulkan aside, is because the new AMD discrete GPUs are using the 3D stacked memory actually on the actual GPU itself. I wonder if that can be translated over to a CPU APU setup.
I don't know, because APUs utilize just like your regular DIMM system RAM, so who knows? Anyways,
NVIDIA G-Sync
from AMD to NVIDIA.
Right. This comes from redheaded stepchild Ryan. I don't think. Yeah, he actually wrote this one. Good. I love you, Ryan. No, not really. PC Per, and they're talking about, back in the day, we're talking just a few months ago, if you wanted to get that G-Sync, you needed to get that G-Sync module in your G-Sync monitor. Well, turns out, this is actually something Alan found out a couple of weeks ago, maybe about 2 or 3 months ago.
We covered this on the show, yeah.
Yeah, and they had a laptop with the leaked NVIDIA drivers that enabled G-Sync on the lap notebooks. It's like, right. It's almost like you can hear a dozen monitor manufacturers screaming out at once, "Oh, this is bullshit!" Because, now, I'm not saying that's the case. Maybe right now, currently, for the technology to work for variable refresh rate, you do need that module. But AMD's already shown that you can do it all in software. And this kind of seems like NVIDIA's like, yeah, we can do some of it in software. But who's going to tell me I'm completely wrong first?
No, you're not completely wrong. Their entire module, actually, the guys at PC Per had this very same discussion, was that the module itself is acting like a buffer. Mm-hmm. That's all it's doing. It's storing frames.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it stores the frames in the monitor itself so it can free up the system requirements and do it on the display. But their excuse with this whole thing that the laptops now support G-Sync will probably be that there isn't as much variability in the way of laptop screens, especially in the gaming ones.
MSI, Asus, and Clevo. You were saying it had something to do with the panels on them, correct?
Yeah, it's going to be like 2 or 3 different models for either the IPS screens for whomever wants to have, really good colors at the expense of some latency, or the TN panels if you want really low latency but you don't care so much about the colors and the way you can watch it from the sides or from an angle.
I'm so dizzy.
Yeah. So yeah, most gaming laptops nowadays share the same 2 or 3 screen models. So yeah, they can probably optimize the drivers to provide some form of adaptive vertical refresh rate on those.
All right, Sandy, considering AMD is doing it completely through software, do you think NVIDIA is going to pull the, by the way, guys, but you'll still need 3.5 gigs of video memory?
Yeah.
Well, that's what the last 0.5 is for.
Yeah.
It's the buffer.
Obviously. I don't know, I don't know what to make of this, because
all right, up next.
Thought the whole
Up next. So this is a Trello board from Kate McGovern. She's working with Epic on Unreal 4.
Made out of 100% awesome sauce, she is.
Yep.
Yeah, she is. Awesome lady. As of version 4.8, they are saying that the Linux native editor is in a workable state. They're still doing some bug fixes. They're still doing some performance analysis.
For what?
For Unreal 4, like I said,
on Linux? What?
No, it's only available through Wine on Sigwin, obviously.
All right.
No, this is good news. It means that we finally have a premier development toolkit on Linux that will really, really help developers move. Because I think one of the big things hurting Linux adoption is the fact that there are not a lot of good game making tools under Linux. Unity, for the longest time Unreal 4, even for the longest time LedWorks only had Windows editors, and you'd click export to go under Linux. So this is good. Now, the one thing to note is that they are not shipping it as a binary form just yet until they finish up those final little tweaks to make it all nice and polished. And it's good that they're waiting, I think, because it would be better if right out of the gate, they have something that is full-featured, usable, and can say, hey, go make games on our platform and make them on Linux and make them for Linux. And that's what LinuxGameCast is about, isn't it?
It is.
Yep.
Well, before we start sucking each dick, just yet, gentlemen.
My throat's already loosened, so.
Hot. Okay. Fails to build out of the box, and I had built it. I had posted some screenshots well before 4.8 when they were like, it kind of works under Linux, and I was like, to the git clone. I got everything set up, mono build environment, and I managed to make it work, but if you looked at it sideways, it was spite crash. I was like, 4.8, that's great. I'm going to try to build it on this moon device called 1404 LTS Ubuntu, because, if you're going to target something stable, it would probably be an LTS release. And it, all fairness, says, well, maybe your mono might be out of date, but, boom, PPA, update that business. You're done with that. And I was like, what about Clang? And it was like, you might want to symlink your Clang. Maybe that could be wrong. And I was like, done. We're good with that. It does the install, downloads all the gigajoules, then it does the test script, and it finally just says, hey, man, everything's brilliant. It says, if you don't see success, it's not going to work. It says success. Try to build it. It has some issue with my compiler. And it's like, nope. Doesn't give me any valuable output. I finally managed, I remembered the old trick, which I'm not going to tell anyone what that was, not because it's a secret. It's a horrible hack, and you should never do it.
It's also in the show notes.
It's brilliant.
Yes, it's also in the show.
That's not actually it. That was step 1. Step 2, to actually get it to build the project file so you could run make. And if you do this, and you can, I'll put the links extra in the show notes and the build instructions. Every tutorial just says run make. It leaves out your J options. Count your cores, run make, -J, how many cores you have. Or
+1, actually.
Yeah, just one. You just run it on one core, and then it'll take 16 hours. It's going to be brilliant. But yeah, all right. Enough of that. Let's talk about things I hate.
Ha! Little turn-based awesomeness.
You hate Brad? No.
Yeah. Why do you hate Brad?
No. I love Brad. It's just that's what it said in the show notes.
Yeah, but XCOM 2 is coming to Linux. Yeah.
It's happening! Hashtag Ron Paul.
Hashtag Ron Perlman. What are you
Paul.
talking
But this is great news because Fraxis, the guys who made the original game, working with 2K publishers and obviously with our friends at Feral Interactive, it's coming to Linux, boyos, and guaranteed it's gonna make a SteamOS release. So, but I am super excited for this game. Like, so if you haven't played XCOM is a turn-based tactics game. It's a lot of fun. You get
if you haven't
rename characters. You can import them from different countries and stuff like that, depending on where you do the missions. But it's very well. It's a well done game. My big thing that I want them to fix in this game, I'm hoping they will fix, is when you go on YOLO, fucking, like, you get point blank. This is one of the things that drive me insane about the game. When you're on YOLO and you get point blank with a shotgun to an alien's face and you have a 99% chance of hitting and you miss every time.
And you miss.
You should try play.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, members of Chat Realm, this is my issue with turn-based strategy. Exactly what Sandman just said. It does not work like that. Oh, I took a shot at you and I missed. Wait.
Oh, wait, there's more.
Well, I mean, if you want to see Sandy just fail at 99% successful tasks, just play a game of Dungeons and Dragons with him. Yeah, but whoa, yeah, your dice rolling sucks. Anyways, it does certainly lend some credence to Vince's theory that for 2K based games, virtual programming is only going to be doing the older ones because this is net new. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it could also just be because Feral did the lion's share of the work on the first game and they just got to port the assets. But I don't know. Hopefully this is going to be, we're going to see less and less of the virtual programming 2K ports because they're not really welcome.
Yeah, they're really not. But then again, the Linux community is kind of stupid in general, and they seem to enjoy getting their EONs on.
Not the Linux community, Pedro. Somebody who's installed Arch on the dual boot box and have used it for 25 minutes, who's clearly a Linux expert and should speak on such topics.
They totally know what they're talking about. But yeah, the XCOM 2 looks kind of awesome, being done by some really awesome guys. It should be coming in November. It'll probably be a simultaneous release. There isn't any confirmation as to whether or not it will be, but I'm guessing it is.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Neverwinter Nights all over again. Except it isn't. Or maybe it is. No,
shut up,
is
then. No one cares.
Legends. Sword Coast Legends. It's coming to Windows, Mac, and Linux.
What the hell, Brad? $239.99?
You get the statue.
You get a beta
you can
I get a statue.
if you must.
I'm sorry, I missed the statue.
Damn it, Ben.
Fuck me.
No, it's more fun Dungeons and Dragons-y video games.
Listen, I don't know what the hell a Sword Coast Legend is, and I want to keep it that way. All right?
No,
Okay, so Ben, what you need to do is plug your ears and shut the hell up.
Well, I'm just going to reach in and hit this mute button. Go ahead, Jew.
There's nothing wrong with an up-to-date rehash of Neverwinter Nights. Pedro's going to gush about this after I'm done talking. But one thing I'd like to say is I'm really, really glad that WotC has really reconsidered their Linux policy because, I mean, this site only shows, this currently only shows system requirements for Windows. But they're finally releasing their stuff on Linux, and it's great. The only thing that they haven't released so far is the Neverwinter MMO, which breaks Pedro's heart. But anyways.
Yeah. But yeah, the Sword Coast Legends will be coming from the creative minds behind Dragon Age Origins, i.e. the same people that made BioWare's original Neverwinter Nights before EA got their mitts on them.
So you can also fuck everyone in the game. Good.
Basically. But maybe, just maybe, now that Atari no longer holds the rights to Dungeons and Dragons when it comes to electronic entertainment, and this lot isn't exactly playing by EA's rules anymore, maybe, just maybe, we'll get a decent follow-up to the whole Sword Coast storyline that games like Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, and Neverwinter Nights kind of started. I'd like to see some more of that.
Sandy, make
Hold
me
on,
care.
I'm
Realm
excited.
scared for a second. Baldur's Gate is Icewind Dale is spine of the world. Noob.
Yeah, it's Spine of the
I'm
World.
so attractive to women.
What is directly west of the Spine of the World? The Sword Coast.
It's still north. Anyways,
I'm excited for this game. I'm excited. I always loved the Neverwinter Nights series. It was such a well done series. I enjoyed it. I can't wait for this.
all right, good. Coming up next. Oh, wait, are we doing Patreon before or after?
Yeah, we're doing hate mail.
All right, we'll do it in hate mail. That's fine. Coming up next, we combine Counter-Strike and Minecraft to make a really, really, really subpar game that we're going to subject to the Chairquisition. And we're throwing blocky chairs at Blockstorm, a block game by Block Ghost Shark and published by Block Indie Gala. What is it? It is a first-person shooter made entirely in voxels, so the game is only 100 megabytes in size, and you get 100 megabytes worth of content. It is built on the Unity engine. You can pick it up for $6.99 or $7.79 Canadian, because two of us are Canadian here. And, of course, as always, it is subjected to the Chairquisition. 1 chair means that it's garbage. 2 chair means that it's all right. 3 chairs means that it's pretty good. 4 chairs means that it's amazeballs. And we have our categories to do, mixed with the working, shiny, and sounds, controls, and fun. And because we have our special guest today, Mr. Sandy Martin will join the Chairquisition as our 4th chair. So let's kick this off. Then, did Blockstorm make with the working?
Voxels, man. Voxels everywhere. How does it run? Ubuntu 1404 LTS, octo-core, 4K, 980 powered box of business. Well, I'll tell you this. It will actually hit 60 FOPs at 4K without issue. I mean, I was kind of surprised by that. Super silky smooth. If you have a good ping, but I'll tell you about that in a minute, Brad. But it does do the one thing that I'm going to start dinging things chairs for, because I've seen it come up more often than not recently. It does the, what resolution you running, bruh? I don't know. I'm just going to run the last one you had, because I go from 4K to 1K, not really 1K technically, 1080p to 4K to 144, always changing that. And J-Man's experienced this with other games is sometimes it'll start in 4K when you're at 1080p, and it's a little tiny window, not necessarily playable. You're going to lose a chair for that. And something I'm not going to ding it a chair for, this is more of a public service announcement, considering this is basically multiplayer only. This thing cannot handle lag. This thing handles lag the same way Steve Buscemi deals with a kilo of coke, man. It's just not pretty. It's entertaining as fuck, but it's not pretty. It doesn't get jerky. It doesn't miss your shots. Even though you're hitting a steady 60 FOPs, your movement is like you're doing maybe 30, 32. I mean, it's jarring because I hit one at maybe like 220. I was like, that should be kind of playable. It wasn't. I was getting killed to death constantly. Then I finally, and here's one of the downsides, and I went into the server browser and I found one, and all the ones that are sub 200, this is a known thing apparently, are just maxed out. And you get in that and everything's fluid, smooth, and beautiful. All that said, we're going to give this 3 chairs of the business. J-Baby, what type of PC, since you don't forget this time?
Yeah, I was actually reminding myself so that I wouldn't forget. On the Fedora 21 powered NVIDIA 980 4K displayed AMD 1090Ti processor, box of business by my foot. Yeah, this thing runs 60 FOPs at 4K, no issue. I did not personally run into the resolution issue that had been described, but my X setup is a little different from his. Yeah, no, one thing I did notice is that, server ping really is not handled that well. And you will lag like crazy on a server that is very, very far away. Still, not really a fault of the game, more a fault of the network stack, I guess. 4 chairs.
Yep. And on the Amiga, with the AMD FX 8370E overclocked at 4 gigahertz and GTX 970 Strix. It ran with no issues. Much like Jordan, I too did not run into that resolution thing. It just started itself up.
You don't have a 4K monitor, though, so...
I don't have a 4K monitor. It started up at 1080p, and it maintained 1080p every single time I fired it up, so good on it. 4 chairs.
Righteous. Well, I'm running on 1504 Ubuntu with AMD FX 8320 octo-core with the new R9 270X, 2 gigabytes of RAM, and I ran it. It kept shutting down every time I'd load into a match, but then after I turn off the Steam overlay, it actually ran. I got into the games, and when I did have the Steam overlay on, I would get below 60 FERPs a second, but then once again turning it off, I was actually running super smooth, so I give it the 3 chairs.
All right, so that's 3 chairs for Mixed with the Working from Sandy, and 3 chairs total for Mixed with the Working. Up next, the shinny and the sounds. Ven, did it shin?
Well, that's what it actually looks like. I mean, it just kind of reminded me, is this done in Unity or not?
Yep.
I believe, yeah, it is.
Then they should get a special clap because it runs fantastically well. You are led to believe that somebody bothered to test this and got the performance matching. It runs very well. I like that. But it does look like Minecraft first-person shooter done in Unity. That's kind of what I was getting at. It does not perform like what you would expect because it works. It manages to hold 60 frames.
For once.
But don't get me right. I'm not saying it's beauty sauce. At no point did they attempt to oversell what this game is. I mean, it's blocks, guns, pew, 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 multiplayer. It has sounds. I think there's some sounds when you're walking around. Me and Sandman were playing the other night. Then after we got done with that business and got cleaned up, we played this game. And he could hear me sneaking up on him with directional audio. It was just kind of good because he was in the middle of some diatribe about some bullshit and he turned around and I was like, boop, because I was just standing there waiting for him to get done. It was kind of brilliant. The gun's pew, and I guess the audio is a bit neat. I have nothing negative against this. It's not going to make your eye pussies bleed. But then again, they don't do anything on the store page with the graphics to try to pretend it's anything other than what it says on the tin. So I'm going to give it 3 chairs because I believe it deserves it, J-Man.
So my roommate plays a lot of Minecraft. I've watched him play a lot of Minecraft, and there are actually some, like, with the voxel aesthetic, they actually do have some really cool and really pretty looking things. This game is fugly. My God, it really does look like an uglier Minecraft. Where this really stands out is if you try to dig a hole with like the shovel, there's this awkward stabbing motion, and then the blocks just kind of disappear. Yeah, I mean, from a visual standpoint, Minecraft did voxels very, very well. This game, not really. Plus, the size of them all, like the varying sizes of them, is kind of jarring. It's, I don't know. Just the visual aesthetics of this game do not work for me. I couldn't try as I might. I could not get the sound working. I just kept getting pulse audio underruns and underruns and underruns. All I really heard was. So there might have been some cool directional audio stuff. That would actually be really good for a first-person shooter because stuff like Counter-Strike does it. But that did not work for me. So I'll give this 2 chairs because stuff did show up on the screen. It just kind of sucked.
Well, directional audio, I'm sure it has, but it's only in stereo because these things you see blinking through here have 7.1 surround sound, and this game does not do it. It's only in stereo. That's as directional as it goes. The stabbing motion that Jordan mentioned with the shovel in order to remove a block from the map only gets even more awkward when the ping starts rising. Say, I'm in Portugal. If I wanted to play in a server in the US, it would take almost a second for the block to disappear. It was insane. But it's probably a good thing that music that you listen to while you're in the menu and while the game is paused does not play while you're in game because it would make me go postal. Maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know. Either way, I did not like the background music. They have kind of made the voxels smaller for the character model and the weapons, but not small enough to, say, fit 1 to 8 million of them in a 20-something inch monitor. But yeah, I guess at that point they'd just kind of have to call them pixels, wouldn't they? 2 chairs.
Yes, I enjoy the look of the game, but it's nothing that really stands out for the looks in this MFPS. Yes, a Minecraft first-person shooter. I said it. Yes. The map sound effects were awesome, and as Ven said earlier, when he snuck up behind me while I was doing my thing, I actually just heard him because he stopped sneaking, and he stepped on a metal block. And I heard him. I was like, oh, shit, that's right behind me. Turn around. There he is with his rifle pointing at me, and I'm just holding a block. I thought I could run away, but no. But that's really good. I like that when you have directional sound. Overall, I'm happy that it's not just a plain Unity repackaged, resourced resources in the game. So I'm going to give it a 3 chairs.
All right, so that's 3 chairs from Sandy and 2 chairs for Shiny and Sounds. Up next, Control. Ben, did you feel like you were in control?
I've been playing first-person shooters since billions of years ago in the future's past. So, I can look all me, look on beer, and swing both ways on this, and I did. This works like your standard WAS shooter, minus shift equals walk. You're always running. Sandy fucked up and told me that. That's when he started getting killed to death. Actually, I think, Sandy, you got me by 1 point too, right?
Yeah, 1 point.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. And we were just BSing around doing that. And, P-Man is going to go on this thing who's like, things don't work that way with this particular sniper rifle. Because when you scope with a sniper rifle, let's rewind back, 1998, when enemy territory came out and you tried to scope with a sniper rifle, and it had a meter because you can't just perma-scope like that unless you're full of Mountain Dew and YOLO swag. That's the only way you can manage to do that. IRL, I was actually joyful that they put some sway to it because the sniper rifle is hella overpowered. But it's amazing if you know how to use it right. I liked it. I mean, the controls worked. It worked perfectly well with my gerbil. It worked perfectly fine with a keyboard organ. I have no complaints. I didn't expect much from this, and it delivered beyond my expectations. So I'm going to give it 4 chairs. I mean, the business is even rebindable. J-Baby.
I don't know. I found the controls a little floaty for me, and I don't know. It may have just been the random servers I connected to because I just kept going to quick game playing with notes. But I don't know. Yeah, it's your standard WAS layout. You're not going to have any surprises. Basically, it works the way you expect it to. One thing that really stood out was if this is supposed to be a Minecraft game, there should be an interesting building system. But it's just kind of bland. It's just you stack blocks. You don't even take different types of blocks. You just have your standard red blocks or your blue blocks, and you have an infinite number of them. And you do a thing and you shoot around. That could be possibly the fun category, but I consider controls to be general rules of the game as well. Anyways, not much to say other than that. I mean, yeah, the mapping's sensible. You can actually remap it, which is moon technology for a Unity game. But there you go. 2 chairs.
Yeah, I can't really give it 1 chair because the controls do sort of work and you can rebind them like Jordan and Ven already mentioned. But I will give it the lowest possible score I can because these are some floaty as fuck controls like Jordan mentioned. It's like your character isn't exactly touching the ground. It's floating on top of it with random footstep sounds just thrown in there for good measure. Like Ven's already hinted at, go ahead and attempt to aim that sniper rifle while scoped in.
Hey, Sandy, how did you survive that sniper shot?
I'm not even talking about the sway, actually holding the sniper up.
No, you should be talking about the swag, baby, because that's how I kill.
It makes sense. It kind of makes sense, but it's when you try to turn while scoped in. Why do you have to fuck with my mouse sensitivity just because I'm scoped in? Do not fucking do that. I hate when first-person shooters do that. And I am used to playing first-person shooters. Lately, I've been playing a lot of Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Those are some really tight controls. Good job on Valve for that one. When you stop touching the controls, your character stops moving. When you stop, swerving the mouse, the camera stops. In Blockstorm, if you move the mouse to the side, there will still be like a half a second of movement to the side. Why? And if you do the same thing with the movement keys, the exact same thing happens. I've had my character actually slip out of the map and into lava or onto a bottomless pit numerous times because I stop at what was supposed to be the edge and the motherfucker just doesn't stop. So it gets 2 chairs on a technicality.
Sandy, what would happen if you had a 20x scope on somebody and you jerked over to the left real quick? Maybe a little disorientation?
Yeah, there would be a little disorientation.
All right, I was wondering, since you
just throwing that out there.
Armed forces and all that. I was just curious. Go ahead. You're saying.
So anyways.
Yeah, because this game is so very realistic.
I can just punch rock and it clears out. It's great.
So I pulled out the old Dorito 5000 controller, aka my Logitech F710 wireless. Ran fine, no problems. I had no issues on both direct and X input as well. All the points were there for remapping. Unlike Major League Pedro, I enjoyed the controls and how quick the weapons change, like when you use the scroll wheel. Obviously, certain things, like when you have a sniper rifle, for example, and you go to turn when you're scoped, I'm not turning that fast. I know that because I've held one. And I tried turning, and that thing's heavy. So... But the only control scheme I hate is shift equals sneak. No. Shift equal run. Ding, 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 ding. Control equals sneak. 3 chairs.
All right, so that totals up to 2 chairs again for the controls. And finally, our subjective category, where we get to rant and rave and talk for longer than the segment needs to be. Fun!
Yeah, it's going to be some fun. Most of the deathmatch maps that you're going to run into, admittedly, are all way too large. I mean, even if you have like 6 carbon-based entities in your standard DM match, you can walk around for 3 minutes sometimes before you run into anybody. And I'll say, yeah, maybe we want to tighten those graphics up a little bit, Brad. But, the map editor works like a breeze. There's no issues to it. Straightforward, it's simple. You make your own maps and do all that, which is probably something we should do. Now, I didn't get this game at first. I genuinely didn't, because I was only playing deathmatch. I was like, Vin, go kill. It was amazing at first, because it was populated, Pedro will attest to this, by kids going, oh, it's a Minecraft crafting shooter. And it's like, nope, it's slaughtering grounds for Vin. I just walked around annihilating everyone. Then they get a bit boring. Then the game has progressed on. Now it's out of early access, and people are playing it who spend a lot of time playing it, so you get killed to death more often than not. I'm like, death matches, I don't know. When it's competitive like that, which I like competitive, but I was like, I don't know if I want to invest in this particular game to get good. Plus, I'm old, so I mean, it would take a lot more effort to do it. But where I felt this game shines is capture the flag. Because this entire, I was like, why do I have a shovel? Why do I have blocks? This is pointless. This is deathmatch. CTF, you learn to build defenses. You can start building your defenses. You can build your sniper nest. If they could vac ban me from this game, they would have tried. Because no one. I was raised by a mechanical engineer. I look at that. You give me a block. I'm like, yeah, we're good. Went up there, destroyed my blocks. No one could get to me. Boom, crouch. The only way. We're sitting there. 15 minutes straight picking off everyone who's trying to get to our flag. Unfortunately, my blue team sucked balls. So they never got the flag, but I killed everyone who got to ours. I really enjoyed that. I mean, I think that's where this shines. There's other game modes available Didn't get a chance to play them. One thing I would like to see is like maybe each team getting a 5-minute prep time for Capture the Flag. That would bring it to a new level, along with maybe enforcing some type of class system a la Team Fortress 2. I think that would also be neat. It's not going to blow your mind. It's not going to be everybody's cup of chainsaw. But for me, everything done. And I mean, we tested this multiplayer, and we've even played with strangers. We played with ourselves, and then we played against each other. I'm going to give this middle of the road. I mean, trust me, first-person shooters on Linux, we've had a few. So that's a pretty good score at 2 chairs. J-Man?
Yeah, I mean, first-person shooters on Linux are literally a dime a dozen. You don't even need to pay for them anymore, to be perfectly honest. Oh my god, I just looked at the return video. I look so blurry. That's not even remotely related to what I'm talking about right now. Yeah, one issue I did have, I played in one Capture the Flag map where I just picked the team that had the fewest number of players. They all sucked. Everyone on the other team actually knew what they were doing. And like Ven said, most of the people playing now have been playing for at least a couple weeks, so they're much better than you. So you just die a lot. One thing I thought would be kind of interesting is the Minecraft aspect where you can build around, except as I mentioned in the control section, the building is fairly one-dimensional. You have blocks and you place blocks. There aren't different types of blocks. There's just red blocks or blue blocks. And I mean, really, it's just an ugly game to look at. I managed to put half an hour in playing with randos, which I really, 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 really don't like. I'd rather play with friends, but I mean, I did not have fun playing this game. Maybe if it was Capture the Flag with a couple of these guys, I'd be tempted to give it 2 chairs, but for now, I'm gonna give it 1.
Yeah, I too have shot sniper rifles. In fact, I have shot a Barrett 50 cal. And I've turned on the spot with that thing in my hands, and I didn't sway as much as this motherfucking character in this motherfucking game.
That gun weighs more than you do.
Yeah, you just fell to the ground. That's
no, I didn't.
Hello.
No, it doesn't. I weigh 185 pounds. So
oh, look a pity.
Do the math on that one. But yeah, sparse maps. Nigh on zero feedback as to whether or not you're actually hitting the person you're aiming for. Floaty as fuck controls, and the graphics just do not look very good. Granted, I will give you that they have weapon skin and character skin editors as well as the map editors. Those were interesting ideas. Of course, the graphics of the game being what they are, they don't exactly add anything. They just introduce more ugliness to it, as it were. It's not breaking the bank at €6.99 in my case, but still, I would not pay €7 for this. For €7, I can go to Burger King and actually walk out feeling terrible about my veins. So no, it gets 1 chair.
Blowjob face.
Blowjob face. Yeah. All right. The map, like Ven said, the maps are too big to like really take away from blowing each other off. Away. I meant away. Capture the Flag is the selling point of this game. Like, it is so much fun to do Capture the Flag with this because there's a set objective rather than just blowing each other off. Away. And like the Minecrafty build defense aspect, you know, like the one thing I like about the Capture the Flag in this game is that you can build a defense around the flag, or you can just dig a hole, or like Ven said, you make a nest and you just pick people off coming close to your flag. What the game really needs is like a mode like a zombie-like mode or a tag mode or, you know, defend and destroy. Like something like that would be really good. But overall, like I'm going to have to give it a 2 chairs.
As soon as I find that, there we go.
Yeah, I actually, speaking of, Pedro mentioned character customizations. What skin did you guys use? I used the farmer who looks exactly like a white Mr. T.
You lost your shit.
I did. It's white Mr. T. That is just hilarious. I feel sorry for those unfortunate individuals.
Citadel 17 police guy from Half-Life 2. The Combine.
Yeah.
I play as a chef. As a cookie.
Hello,
class.
children.
And I was a clone trooper from
All
Star
right.
Wars.
Well, let's cap off this review because it's running really long. 1 chair for fun, 2 chairs final. I think we talked this game to death between the 4 of us. So, up next, your hate mail and some lovely, lovely Patreon people.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the hate mail. And we've got quite a few hate mail this week. But before we get to it, just a quick reminder, if you'd like to get in touch with us, go to linuxgamecast.com, push the contact button on the nav bar there, and fill out the form. Now remember, if you're trying to promote a game, a Kickstarter, a whatever you want to call it, if you are trying to make money and you want us to act as your marketing department, please include a demo, a prototype, some Steam keys, at the very least 3, or otherwise we will not talk about your game and we will make fun of you, as you will see later on. But before we get to the hate mail specifically, we have
We got
4 people to thank this week.
You see,
Yeah.
like these fine, upstanding young gentlemen, you too can go to patreon.com/LinuxGameCast and pledge any amount of money per episode, and we really, really appreciate it. It enables us to do stuff like bring Sandy on, buy more games to review, pay for hosting for our various servers we have too. We got the Rainbow Bridge server, we got the web server. All sorts of wonderful stuff that you enable us to do. We're $8 away currently from having to play Portal 2, Ven and I. So if you want to watch us attempt to cooperate and then buy plane tickets to each other's houses, miss each
Is there
other,
a spectator mode in Portal 2?
I believe there might be.
Because I will totally sit back and record you.
It should be good, but either way, enabled by you, our wonderful, wonderful fans like Mitchell and Frederick and Dalton and come on.
Who did they kick
Come
in?
on, Eamon.
Way up here in the show notes.
We know that Frederick actually increased his existing donation to $2.50 an episode. Michael gave us some amount. I have to actually pull up the Patreon manager to check this.
Single wet
He gave us
stinky,
8.
man. That's brilliant. Love that. That's awesome.
It's pretty good. He's a member of the Super Squad. Yeah, we got Dalton
and
gave us what 5 cents?
They give us some change, man. I mean, that's what we're talking about. I mean, you don't need to be like a lot of people want to all this money, but no, 5 cents, 3 cents. 5 cents lets you watch Trying Again, and it's also going to let you watch Portal 2. You think about that. 5 cents a show, man. Come on. Seriously, then you get the extra added benefit of being able to watch Trying Again. You get to watch all 3 of us once a week, sit down and go, yes, let's cooperate. This will work out.
To clarify, you get to watch Trying Again a week early than the rest of the slobs who are not our wonderful Patreon backers who we love so much, but we also love our fans. So if you cannot donate to us, tell your friends, spread the word. It all helps. But Pedro, we have some hate mail, don't we?
Yes, we do. The first one comes from Pablo. I see what you did there.
No, it comes from Pedro. No,
I'm guessing.
Clearly says it comes from Pedro.
Pablo.
So,
The Serpinator.
Who he says, Serpenida Saglines, old school RPG. Any chance it faces the chairs? Cheers. Curiously, Snake in the Staglens is what I call my dick in those situations that I have found myself in the company of the LGBT crowd.
My name's
that's
Snake.
racist.
From a rival
Holy
gang.
shit, Pedro.
Give me the drugs or you'll go bang.
So they do have a demo available on their website. You have to actually go to their Steam page to find it.
Yeah, I actually downloaded that demo.
Yeah, so did I. But,
downloaded it. Okay, well,
Yeah,
then let's see if we got the same experience.
I'm pretty sure we did. Yeah.
28-inch 4K displayed, right?
Sure.
Right. Launch it. It shows up. You're big.
Yeah, in the
Not
640
exaggerating.
680 by or 670 by 480 video
To
window.
the point where I was...
Oh no! Did you try switching it to full screen? Because that's even better.
That's what I had to do, and I finally got into the menus full screen, and I was like, no.
Oh yeah. No, it really feels like I'm playing a computer RPG from 1996, complete
full motion video.
shit with the shitty deinterlaced FMV video. Oh my god, it's wonderful. This is supposed to be a homage to stuff like really old Baldur's Gate, some of the old Gold Box stuff. I don't know. It's kind of overpriced on Steam. It certainly looks the part. But
I've actually sent them an email. They have yet to reply. I think I'll
either way, their demo doesn't work because you get to the part where you can click around, and I literally clicked everything and nothing happened. So I don't know.
Well, maybe Sandy, what do you think about this? I will say one thing is you read the reviews on the Steam page, you're like, a lot of shit's still broken, Brad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, the game definitely still looks broken after reading what you had wrote, because I went to download it and then I had seen what you had wrote. I'm like, oh god, is this what I'm in for? I'm like, fuck this. I'm like, we'll see. I'll play it sometime later, but not today.
Not today.
Up next,
Bernice Hall and John Olick. I would like a word with you, lady and gentlemen, because
of the wonderful things Ben does.
It was the time he first contacted us a while back, and I kind of forgot about it since, well, you lot think yourselves above the rules of the chairs. Because the chairs have clearly said if we're going to promote or do any type of anything with the game, we need a working Linux demo. And you looked at the chairs and went, fuck you in stereo, Brad. You did. But in one of my fits of, oh, what the hell, I was like, P-Man, contact these humans. And you did, didn't you?
Yep. Yes, I did. 3 or 4 emails back and forth.
Yeah, I remember looking at that. And didn't they say something like, come to LA and watch a...
Yeah, they were apparently presenting the game on some event that was happening in... Was it LA or Las Vegas?
They offered a flight.
One of the two.
Yeah, it might have been Vegas.
Yeah, I think it was Vegas. And I'm like, okay, the closest person to you right now is in Georgia, so we can't really go there, but we like NDAs. We love NDAs. So if you send us some keys, we can, give you some feedback.
I mean, I can barely knock all the NDAs out of my mouth, man, and just by walking around. But
Ben, those are hot dogs, not NDAs.
It's brilliant. They have a Kickstarter for a game called Voxelnauts, and we're not going to say anything about it other than it's a thing, and you need to think about this. The Kickstarter is still going, and it's run by a team that lacks basic reading comprehension. And this is what set me off. They sent that first email, and I'm like, okay. I ignored it. They sent that second email. I passed it to Pedro. Pedro said he cleared things up because they couldn't be bothered mothering read. And first thing this Monday, they send me another one. Come on, talk about it. Well, I'm going to talk about it. If you see anything that rhymes with Voxelnauts, run. Stay away from it because
do not give those people money.
They have spammed us. And I would not give these people any money if they're reading. They can't put 2 and 13 together and say, well, we've talked with, maybe if we keep bombarding them with, and they'll mention it. Well, we just did, Brad. We're not going to give you a link.
It's like your creepy stalker ex, but without the sexiness.
There!
Unfortunately.
A bunch. Okay. If you follow me on G+, you will eventually see me break down and pretend to actually know something about business. It's like, fine, shut up, leave me alone. This has been coming maybe 10, 12 times. How do I send a one-time donation where Amazon links? Because, that's there and it's never been clear. It's laziness on my part. I suck as a human being for not getting around to do that because we do have Amazon links. We do have one-time PayPal donations and recurring and all that business. It genuinely probably took me 15 minutes to do.
If you are going to do a recurring, though, think about the Patreon, though.
That's why I set up. Now, if you click support the shows, and we got the Patreons there, you can click right into that. If you're in the UK, we get a nice nifty link for your Amazons. We got the regular Amazons, and this is awesome because this costs you shit. You don't have to log in. You don't have to do anything. If you purchase anything, remember, screech on over there and do that. And I know that's tough because I would even get a kickback if I ordered through our link, and I forget about doing it all the time. So, I'm not going to fault you for that. But we also have the PayPal, the old school, and genuine. That's a real link. This is my verified PayPal business account since 2001. So we got the one.
He tried to get that transparency right and failed.
We tried to set up a regular Linux team, and I forget what show that is. I had my meltdown with PayPal about that, so we just moved it over there. But there's no reason to get your skulls in disorder.
Yeah, this is from Civic, a.k.a. Renaud Lepage, a.k.a. the Skullgirls volunteer. And then said, at some point, I believe this was on Google+, being 80% off, yes. I wonder about it being a virtual programming wrapped port versus native. To which this guy replies, no! I have access to the sauce, and let me say these. The port was based in STL2. The port's graphics tech since the handoff has not changed. It's still a full native. That's racist. Oh, Ven, I do love you so much, but trust me when I say I'd have raised true hell if it had been a freaking wine bottle. So I had mentioned several episodes ago that I believed that virtual programming was handling the Skullgirls port because
2 weeks ago, right.
Because that would just be delicious. It would be hilarious. I would quite literally pee myself laughing. And Ben went all, oh, you better not be right, you motherfucker. And so we have it straight from... I believe my
exact words, where I will stab you in the taint with a stale Dorito.
That is legitimately true. He did text me that the day after we had recorded the podcast. And I said, I love you too, sweetness. I'll see you at noon. But... I mean, one interesting thing I'd like to point out is using STL2 from a fighting game. Awesome idea, because I know a lot of people in the competitive fighting game community. I happen just through friends. They are very, 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 very particular about whatever type of controller they use via game sticks, PS3 controllers, and whatnot. So as long as that's all good across the board, that's actually a very smart move for a fighting game.
All right.
And I would be loved to be proved wrong.
Baby, give me the history of this. Who's this person? Why do we know him? Why do we care?
Yeah, like Jordan mentioned earlier, this is Renaud Lepage. He's a French-Canadian. Apparently watches the show. Go figure. And he was one of the volunteers, like the third wave of volunteers that helped Lab Zero get Skullgirls for Linux started, at the very least. And... we've actually had this back and forth on Google Plus for the past few weeks where I'm trying to guess who it is that is doing the port, and he's not giving me anything, he's not budging, he's just saying it's not virtual programming. On Steam
because he contacted on Steam and he's like, so, do you really want to know who's porting it? And I was like, no. I don't fucking care. For me, this game, I'm completely dead inside. It shows up, it doesn't, it doesn't.
But yeah, my bet still is Aspire is the one doing the port.
Now, why do you think that? Because they get a cut of the sales? That's their business model?
You see,
because Feral, you got to give Feral the coin up front. Aspire will do it for
you. But Feral's busy. Feral is busy with Shadow of Mordor, Batman, Arkham City, and a few other games.
XCOM 2.
XCOM 2. Yes.
XCOM 2.
So they're going to be busy. So I'm guessing it's Aspire. And again, it's using SDL2. And chances are we haven't really heard anything coming from Aspire lately. It's probably them. The reason that they chose to keep quiet about their mingling with Skullgirls is because if the port does not go through, yet again, they don't want to be front and center when the shitstorm hits.
Sandy, make this all make sense for us, man. We're all confused. And on that bombshell, let's cue the music. You can always find us around 9:30 Eastern Standard Moon Time. If you wonder what that moon time is, type time Athens, Georgia into the Googs. It'll let you know. It'll hook you up. I'm Ben Stone. you can always find me spreading this distortion with my friends at Vinstone on the Twitter nets, plus Vinstone on the G pluses.
I'm Jordan Svung. You can find me spreading mayonnaise on my friends at
Giggity.
Burning Fool on Twitter, or plus Jordan Svung on the Google Plus.
I am Pedro Mateusz. You can find me cleverly disguised, or not, at Unaccounted For on Twitter, or plus Pedro Mateusz on Google Plus.
And I'm Sandy Martin, watching Jordan put mayonnaise on everyone. And you can find me at Ultimagus on the Twitters, and plus Sandy Martin on the Google Pluses.
And just remember, beautiful party people, Shout Realm, the trollest of trolls, the worst of worst. If you're spreading mayonnaise on people and Airwolf doesn't show up, it will always end in backrumpsy.
Just ask about Juju.
Backrumpsy.
It's your made-up word.
Backrumpsy.
I know. I'm just making sure I got it right.
See, even Pedro fails at speaking his own made-up words.
Better get that shit
That's how hardcore he is.
in Urban Dictionary before I do, because I'll hyphenate that shit, make you wrong, son.